Good morning and welcome back to the Iron County Ag Barn. We are so excited to have Erin Sorenson in the Ag Barn today because her story is one of those that just gets the fire going in a lot of souls around the area again. I first heard her story back in January at one of our Iron County Farm Bureau Federation meetings, and since then it has really stuck with me. So I am very honored for her to come in and be able to visit with me. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good deal. How was the drive down? Was it a little rainy?
Yes, but I won't ever complain about the rain, so we'll take it.
It's kind of one of those, God things that we just need in our lives. And the rain, I feel like, helps slow us down, you know? It's supposed to slow us down. We're supposed to remember to slow down in our life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And especially with working moms, we're busy all the time coordinating schedules and different things.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of the driver or passion in your life.
Yeah. So I grew up on a cattle ranch in central Utah, and my family raised corn, alfalfa, safflower, wheat, and I've always loved agriculture. In fact, it's probably, outside of my family, it's probably the one passion I actually have in life. And when the time came, Whit and I could not go back to our family farms, which at the time seemed like this huge obstacle, but it actually ended up being one of the greatest blessings in our lives. We were able to learn and grow, and while I learned so much, I don't ever want to take away from my childhood and the mentors that my grandparents and parents were, but I've learned so much from having to do it myself a little bit and experience it and struggle, that I'm so thankful every day that we've come down the path we have. But so we own our own sheep operation in Delta, Utah, where we raise our 4 children on the farm. Most of what we do is we produce buck lambs for other commercial herds in the state. So we're a seed stock operation at heart. But in order to grow our farm, we also sell wool and meat directly to the consumer. So that's what we do.
which has a lot of different facets in it. They all butt up to each other.
Yeah.
And they all create synergy with one another. Yeah. But they're all key aspects and key function of making sure your family operates.
Yeah.
What's it like raising a young family within agriculture today?
So Whit and I have this conversation all the time of how grateful we are that we're raising our kids on the farm. It was how we were raised, and it's like the family tradition. So I love that part of it. But the other thing is I don't know how to instill confidence in my children in any better way than by allowing them to learn firsthand, both literally and also, not literally, that you reap what you sow, that our efforts are what you ultimately will pay out for you in the end, and that sometimes you can give your best effort and things don't work out. Like I tell my husband all the time that we're teaching our kids how to fail as much as we're teaching them how to succeed. And
that's a really powerful statement.
And I don't mean that negative. I mean, it's an important life lesson. And so it's a beautiful thing. And it's hard. I think I'll tell people, tag us on Facebook posts or Instagram and say, I wish that my kids could learn that, or I wish that my kids knew how to work that hard. And I'm like, if you think that my kids don't fight with me about feeding the sheep as much as they do with you putting their laundry away, like it's not easy. It's not perfect. It's
messy.
Yes. And it's okay. It is okay. It is okay that I have to fight with my kids sometimes about doing their chores. Do I enjoy it? No, but it's normal and it's okay.
Wait, you're saying it's normal? There's not just cookie cutter kids?
No.
Because my daughter and we are button heads so bad right now, right? But at some light of day, I see, look, I'm setting a boundary for her so that she understands what she can succeed at right now. I mean, she's an entire 6 years old, which is that cusp of life of she's responsible for her room.
Yes.
I mean, her 3-year-old brother isn't. He's 3.
Yes.
But you can set those expectations of, how to put your laundry in your basket. You know how to get it to the laundry room.
Yes.
Right? And to me, doing everything for your kids is actually taking things away from them.
Yes.
They're not able to have those hard experiences.
Yeah. Well, we were actually discussing this on the way down. Our boys have started fighting with each other over who gets to operate the skid steer at the farm. So we have a skid steer. We use it to feed and do chores and things like that. And the easy job is driving the skid steer, right? The hard job is shoveling or like running around and opening the gates or cutting the strings, whatever that involves. And it's a good lesson for my kids to learn that in life, there are things you want to do and things that have to get done. The things that have to get done are hard. Usually they're the things that you don't want to do your taxes. You don't want to sit down and balance the books for the farm. You want to be outside. But there are things you have to do. But then the other lesson in that is that now that they've both learned how to operate it, they've elevated themselves where they can do the job they want to do. So skills, knowledge, education, hard work, ethic, whatever it is that you're giving yourself, you're putting yourself in a position where you get to do more of what you want to do.
Which is so critical in getting kids and getting, people to realize that working hard is hardly working.
Yeah.
Right? Because as you work hard, you become more effective at what you're doing, and you fail when you find a way not to do it, but you also find another opportunity to learn in a direction that it should go.
Yes.
And especially, I don't know, oh my, there's just so much passion behind your story too, Erin, that as you're raising these children, as you and Whit are raising these leaders for the future, you're allowing them the opportunities as kids should. Kids should not be on technology to the best extent possible.
Yeah.
I get that the world's changed and it's not all bad, but a 4 or 5-year-old should not have a phone for more than 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
If 10 minutes a day, and only during nap time, in my opinion. That's enough for them to calm down what they're doing and then realize they need to sleep, okay? But in that aspect, you're allowing them the opportunities to feel the dirt, to become one with the operation, so to speak, and to see that cycle of life and where they can make it better, where they have control of making it better by learning and growing, where they are pretty powerless in sometimes it's just God's will.
Yeah.
For whatever does or doesn't happen.
Exactly.
But so many opportunities have been robbed from our children because as parents we want to step in and take over and swoop them and save them when we're not supposed to.
Yeah.
We're supposed to set boundaries. And granted, there's any given circumstances, very blanket, conversation, but as a parent, you want your kids to move out at 18.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
You want them to feel confident enough about moving out at 18. And through ag education and through ag and being raised around agriculture, you're giving them many life lessons that kids aren't experiencing well into their 30s and 40s now.
Yeah.
Well, are they considered kids at that point?
I don't. Is the fact that I'm someone's child, I hope so, but in the fact that I'm someone's parent, I hope not. So
right.
I agree with what you just said. I can't protect my kids, nor should I protect them from some of the things that happen in life. As a parent, there are hard and fast things that I should always protect them from. But then there are things that I just want to and shouldn't. And loss is one of those things. Failure is one of those things. And my sons purchased some ewes a couple years ago and started running them with our herd. And my son Lee, his first set of lambs ever born on the farm were born. We had to pull them, and they were not alive when they were born.
Oh, that's a really hard lesson to learn.
Yeah, and I think there are probably people out there who would judge us for the fact that my 11-year-old experienced that. But one of the things that was so interesting is that that's something that some people have to face in life, maybe not with an animal, but with a family member, with a relationship, that they don't choose. My son chose to have those sheep. We chose to allow him that experience, and we didn't know that would be the outcome, but it was. But so many times in life, we are put in really hard situations that we didn't ask for. It wasn't our choice. And in some way, even though I wish it had been different. I wish it had been a different experience for him, but it wasn't. In some way, we were able to look back on that and say, all right, what did we learn? And maybe it was a life lesson, not really an ag lesson. So, yeah.
Well, but I feel like so many life lessons are learned so much better and softer and kinder, for if those are truly the best words to use, in an ag operation. There's compassion, there's expression of empathy.
Yeah.
Those are emotions that humans have to experience to be human, right? And with the removal of those things, or with the removal of populations being involved in agriculture, you don't see those different things, right? And you don't get those opportunities to put your kids in those different experiences. With all of the different hardships that you've gone through in getting your own production going and different things, you're not just a producer.
Yeah.
You are a lot of different plates. And Dusty Reese and I were talking about it yesterday of there's glass balls and plastic balls. Mm-hmm. You learn which ones are glass and you learn which ones are plastic. And if the plastic ones drop a little bit, then it'll be an okay day.
Yeah.
And if a glass one drops every once in a while, then you need to give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Because so many other things are going on in any time. And I won't make you do it, but I know that there are more than 5 hats that you wear.
Yeah.
Between all of the different things.
Yes.
Right? And if anybody really stood back and said, what do I do in any given day? They're wearing lots of different hats and different things. So with your producer hat on, how have you seen the industry change since you've been directly involved running your own operation?
There's so many ways to go with this. I'm trying to think of what I want to say most, or how much time you have. So I think that agriculturalists in general have had to become better at what they do to survive. We have less people involved in the industry. We have less acres or less resources allocated to us or at our disposal. Sometimes less dollars at our disposal. So I think that what I've seen is, and I think you see this in every industry. I don't know that this is exclusive to agriculture, but those who have survived have had to be inventive. They've had to take risks, and they've had to get very good at what they do. So if they're an alfalfa farmer, they may be optimizing a water system and increasing their yields through a better nutrient management plan, a better cost analysis of what can they afford to do to increase their yields, and really walking that line of really knowing their businesses inside and out. We don't farm, we just ranch, but same thing. Who are my customers? What is it actually costing me to do this? And what do I need to do to be more fiscally stable as a business? And so I just think as an industry, those who are still in it, you look around and they are experts in whatever it is they do. They know everything inside and out. They aren't farming the way that their parents did, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to say that.
Oh no, it's growing development.
But you find that there has been such an accelerated rate of growth that, I talk to people in different sectors of ag all the time. I was at a dinner 2 nights ago talking to some people who own and operate a hog operation, and talking to them, and the amount of just-in-time supply that they have, whether it be in actual live animals for their feed, for that place is so structured and so fine-tuned that it's almost a scope of ag that I can't understand.
Wow.
It's the same thing with, we have honey producers in Millard County. It's so technical and so different than what I do. And so all I can do is ask questions and support them. But I think the biggest change I've seen is that it's changing faster and faster and faster, and people are adapting and changing to meet that challenge. And so it doesn't look the same as it did when I was growing up, but I think I think the change that I'm seeing is change. Is that an okay answer?
Absolutely. I'm going to relate this to, any type of animal. You watch it from birth to death. You watch different things grow, change, and evolve. You watch things adapt to what they need to adapt to. Humans have adapted dramatically, right? I think that what's, quote unquote, the scariest thing for me to step back and see is because ag is becoming so efficient at what it's doing and the production operations that it's almost becoming such a niche market that the barrier to entry is so high that eventually there's only going to be 5 or 6 above.
I see what you're saying.
Which is good and bad, right? Because in some degree, and maybe it's just in southern Utah too, because we have a lot of public lands, which means we can have slightly larger herds.
Yep.
But still, most cow-calf operations are under 200 or 300 head, right? Even under 100 head in the Midwest, but they have the graze lands that are privately owned that they can just go run on. We have an abundance of acreage that's public, but we also have to have multiple use on it. And then the grasslands associated with it because of overgrowth, and that's a whole nother story, right? But the grass available on rangelands is diminished. So we have to be creative. We, meaning all the producers, because I'm not a producer of anything sort except for carrots in my backyard in a flower bed. Let's be very specific on that.
Carrots are hard to grow, so
right. I don't know about that. But you go through and within that learning environment, you're becoming the most efficient that you can. But if we make it so efficient, how do we teach our 6-year-old daughter how to get into that industry?
I think this is true of, again, all industry, but agriculture too. We can't ever fail to acknowledge the innovation and the changes that are coming. And what I mean by that is becoming more efficient. Yes, you may be able to grow some operations and others you may see go away, but that will in and of itself create more opportunity, potentially.
Agreed.
And what I mean by that is the amount of effort that used to go into feeding, and take any group, a community, a county, a state, or a country, used to require a lot of time by a lot of people. And I think that sometimes we long for that again, and I think it's wonderful for people to get out and cultivate a garden and to raise their own proteins or whatever it is. I think it does help them gain a little bit of understanding and perspective. But in the same token, the growth and prosperity that we've seen, particularly as a nation, have come because we're not hungry.
Agreed.
We have cutting edge technology because people were able to take that time and take the energy that they were putting into feeding themselves, clothing themselves, finding shelter, and follow passions, follow interests, follow curiosities. And a lot of the things that we have to do now come from the fact that agriculture has become better and better at what it does, and we are abundantly blessed because of it in many aspects of our life we've never considered.
No, completely agreed.
Yeah.
And I love that there's that 2% of, and then 2% feeds the 98%, right? No, and it's been really good. I want to see it last in that ratio or a slightly better ratio per se for future generations.
And so if I can speak to that a little bit too, Whit and I have the opportunity to do what we do because of that situation I just told you. Whit and I, we operate in a very small scale niche market. So seed stock production is not like our operation compared to the commercial herds. Like you said, we have herds of thousands and thousands of head that operate around us, and we are able to raise buck lambs because we have customers in close proximity to us that have a demand for that. So we were able to make an entrance into agriculture because of the opportunity that created. Does that make sense? So
absolutely.
as a first, we are third and fourth generation agriculturalists, me and my husband. But we were able to start a first generation operation, I guess you could say. We weren't doing anything as a part of what our families were doing because there were opportunities in our area. Direct to consumer meat and wool. The reason that we can do that is because there are affordable groceries that make up the majority of yours and mine's fridge and freezer.
Yes.
And so for people to be able to come to our farm and purchase a whole lamb and support our business, which is, I love that's an important priority to people, is to support what we do.
Right.
But we have the opportunity to raise more lambs every year because people are wanting to engage with us as a farmer.
Right.
The wool is the same thing. We sell, if you compare our product online to any other wool product you might see at a Hobby Lobby or a Walmart, it is more expensive because our processing is much more limited. The infrastructure that allows us to do that processing is not as efficient maybe as a large-scale factory or operation. But there are people out there that are able to prioritize purchasing our products and supporting our farm because their basic needs are met. And so big ag and small ag support each other.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times it's your small producers that are engaging with the public on a scale that maybe, and so I think, I guess what I'm trying to say is that we serve each other. And so as things progress and become more efficient, we should celebrate that and then take a chance and seize the opportunities that it then presents to us.
So I feel like this is a common theme between the interviews as well, is we're a village.
Yeah.
Right? We support each other, we go through things together, we try to help where I might be weak, you may be strong, where you may be weak, I may be strong kind of thing, and then we get more people involved. Especially with agriculture in southern Utah, it seems like as a state we're pretty self-sufficient, but southern Utah, if we close down the trade walls, then I feel like to some degree we would almost benefit because we would become stronger as a community. Erin, I'm so sorry that we've come to the end of our interview, but I have loved being able to sit and visit with you because you bring such a wealth of knowledge to what's actually happening, from the small producer end to being involved with the Federation. You really see a lot of the different aspects of what's actually happening, and I just appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come down to little old Iron County.
I love it here.
And spending a few minutes with us. Thank you so much, Erin.
Thank you.